Welcome to another episode of Jag U. You got Dante here, and I'm here with one of my, I want to say he's a great friend, but he's more than that. He's a motivator. He's the guy that you don't want on the treadmill next to you at a Barry's class. And he's someone who just kind of pushes me literally in every aspect of life. I got my friend Steve Snyder. He is a managing broker with One Sotheby's Realty. How you doing today, Steve?
I'm really good, and you're faster than me on the treadmill, but
I would say I'm faster. I would say your gas tank is larger though.
Yeah. Well, that comes with maturity and age, so I get that.
I mean, one day I'm gonna have a head full of grays.
Yep, one day.
I can't wait.
One day it's gonna happen. You're gonna look back and think, "Whoa,
I'm gonna be
it was nice when I was young."
Honestly, I'm just gonna look back and say I'm wise now.
Yeah, that's how it feels. That's what it feels like. Yeah.
So, Steve, man, I love that you're here. Thank you for stopping by.
You're welcome.
I think, obviously, you know this. I think the world of you, and so with all the wisdom that you have, I want to just share with our audience and inform some people. First and foremost, tell us who you are and what you do,
Sure.
And then tell us about real estate.
Sure. So as you said, I mean, you know me, Steve Snyder. With One Sotheby's Realty, I moved here from New York City. I've been in real estate for 27 years, which is crazy to say that. So I've seen a lot of different things, and we actually just laughed the other day. I remember someone was talking about, they remember when interest rates were 7%, and that was the lowest in history. And now they're free, which is just such a weird thing to go through. Like, I remember the robust times of 7%. But
yeah.
So now I've moved, I've been licensed in multiple states and actually own a real estate company in another country. So I've really been involved in real estate for a really, really long time in multiple aspects, investment and multifamily and,
right.
and residential. And now that I'm here, I manage multiple offices for One Sotheby's,
yep.
Which is the fastest growing real estate brand really in South Florida. We just acquired a couple of new offices in Jacksonville and up into that coast of Florida. So now we go from Jacksonville all the way to Key Biscayne as a company. So we have 1,300 agents and 27 offices. And 2 years ago, I think we had 6 offices and 400 agents.
Wow. And I think people in Florida know how big Florida is, right? Like when I first moved down here, I was driving from Ohio, and when I hit the Florida border off of Georgia, I was like, oh,
I'm in Florida.
I'm basically in Miami.
Yeah, right.
And then 8 hours later,
then you're there.
The sun was going down.
I agree. It's, the people say all the time, like, where do you want to live? And that's what clients say. And like, well, I really want to be on the ocean. I'm like, for the record, it's like 10 hours long. So where along the ocean do you want to be? So, and then it's funny living down here, like having the distinction of understanding South Florida.
Yeah.
Which is not like Boca or any place like that.
No.
So like, you see every once in a while, like funny things on video, and they're like, I'm going to break down Florida for you. And the guy takes them out, he goes, the middle, no one cares unless you're in Orlando. And then the panhandle, and he breaks it in basically into 5 sections. Like, so that's Florida. Like, in South Florida is its own little animal. So
let's talk about South Florida. Let's talk about the Miami market and what makes it so attractive. Why are so many people coming to Miami to live here now?
So for the longest time, being from New York and Northeast, I think so many people had a perception that you come to Florida to die. Okay. That was kind of what they thought. Yeah. And then really what happened, I think, over the last 2 years with COVID is that people would come, and instead of coming for 10 days and staying at a nice hotel and really enjoying themselves, they came for 2 or 3 months. And after 2 or 3 months of being here, you think, this is really nice. Yeah. Like, I could live here. Yeah. And as you get out and away from the hotel, you realize that the restaurants are great, the nightlife is great, Wynwood and Midtown and, South Beach and really anywhere that you go, there's so much to do here. And I think that actually really created an opportunity for people to experience Florida and Miami and South Florida even more. Of course, that pressure has pushed buyers and people moving all the way up as far as you can go now. Yeah. But in terms of Miami, I think that's really what happened is that, people think of South Florida and they only think of Miami. And as they get here, they realize that Miami is Miami, but it's also North Beach and Surfside and,
Sunny
Bal
Isles.
Harbor and Sunny Isles and, and it kind of all blends together a little bit. The one thing we haven't seen, honestly, is we haven't seen many people coming into the market who don't want to still be near the beach. And that's probably going to have to change. Like I always just say, do you want to go west of 95? Like it's like a whole nother world then.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people coming down, that's not really quite what they're thinking. They still envision, I'm coming to Florida, therefore I have to live near the beach and see the ocean.
Well, I blame that on like media, right? So like whenever you see a game at the Hard Rock, they always show a backdrop of like the beach.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a 35-minute drive.
Right. Or if you cheer for the New York Giants or New York Jets, it's in New Jersey.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But they always have the backdrop of New York City. Yeah.
Right.
In fact, I had a client in New York who played for the Jets, and they flew him in private, picked him up in helicopter, landed him in a hotel in Manhattan, did the big contract signing, had the media. Mm-hmm. And then they said, all right, let's go to the practice facility. And they got him in a car and drove him to New Jersey. And they could have flown to Philadelphia and got to the practice facility faster than what he did.
Wow.
And he said, the money was fine, so he wasn't upset about it. But it was just kind of a funny thing, like, this is not New York.
It was an okie doke.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So, no, I agree with you. I mean, but Miami is changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's becoming very blurred together, like the change of the demographic change of people moving into Sunny Isles. And, we've got breaks where you'd see where Canadians would come, for instance, in Hollywood and Hollandale and places. And that's now blurred. They'll go anywhere where they want now, to live. And it's not, I don't know, it's really blending together as far as, we have for South Florida, I'd say all the way up to Fort Lauderdale. Like, it's just the same kind of right now. People are deciding where they want.
I recently saw an article, and it said that Miami is now the most unaffordable place to live. Can you unpackage that for me?
So I think that there's a couple pieces of that. The rental market here is
atrocious.
It's out of control.
It's atrocious.
It's out of control. It's probably the most expensive rental market in the country.
I can see that because I live here and I rent.
So an interesting side of that, which from an insurance standpoint is actually a nice conversation to have with people.
So from an insurance side, like the premiums are, I think about this, like I have friends in Ohio, and if my friends in Ohio were doing what I'm doing as far as being an insurance broker and selling as much homeowner, how many homeowner policies do I sell in a month? Probably like 25 to 45, right? If they did that, their premiums are going to be somewhere around like 600 to 900 per policy.
Right.
Here, right, I'm nowhere 3,500 to 5,500 on average.
Right. Well, so because one of the things that's interesting from a renting standpoint is it just takes math to do how much am I paying in rent and how much can I afford to purchase. Mm-hmm. And you can still buy things for $500,000 or $600,000. If I use, it's a little different now, but if you use $4 per thousand, you can figure out how much you can buy.
Okay.
So for every $1,000 that you finance, it's going to cost you about $4.
Okay.
So if you buy $1 million apartment, you're going to have $4,000 in mortgage plus your taxes and your common charges. So you could, in theory, be for $6,000 and own $1 million apartment, or you could rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Midtown for $6,000 right now. So those are the types of conversations that I think we're having. And, it's very expensive, but there's no rental inventory here. We don't really have rental buildings per se. So you're renting from individual owners.
Yeah.
Those owners right now are selling their units because they bought them for $300 and they can sell them for $800.
Right.
And so that's crunching the market down of what's available to rent. And a lot of people who used to do short-term rentals here, those people have now decided, I'm going to stay in Florida for a while because they're coming from another country. Mm-hmm. And so then there's just less inventory. The rental market here is tough because we just don't have rental buildings. Being from Manhattan, every building is an apartment building.
Yeah.
There is nothing else. And you'll have mixed-use buildings and things like that. So there's plenty, even though it's expensive. Mm-hmm. It's expensive there because there's 9 million people competing.
Right.
But you have lots of inventory. Here we have a lot of people competing and no inventory, which is a real challenge. So I actually think that's probably going to be the biggest push in our market over the next 36 months is trying to build those. We're actually as a company, we're having a conversation today about a project that a hotel can be torn down, and the best play, the best use of land, highest and best use is what we say in real estate, is probably going to be a long-term rental building.
Wow.
Just because building a condo is great, but you only sell it once, and you can sell a rental building to an investor and get paid for a really, really long time, and the rents are good, and I think they're going to be good for a while.
So you said over the next 36 months, you guys are looking at that, right?
I think over the next 36 months, you're going to see rental buildings pop up more. You're going to see people that, maybe had plans for condo conversion, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They might just have a change of that and just build it as condos, but use it as a rental building.
Well, I mean, you see that, right? People always want to jump into a market probably 2 or 3 years after they got a hot tip.
Correct.
And then they get into the market, and then the market's oversaturated. But what you're saying is that you don't foresee an oversaturation of the market anytime soon.
I don't know where it's going to, and as I say, west of 95,
yeah,
we're going to have to all get used to living west of 95.
I love it. Like, I used to live over there.
Yeah, but that's where people, that's not what people think, right? They want to live near the beach. They want to,
everyone
whatever.
wants. I mean, you want to be within walking distance of the beach.
Right.
It's quote unquote sexy.
Yeah.
Right. But realistically, like if this is the trajectory that Miami is on as a city, and I don't see it slowing down.
No.
I don't think you see it slowing down.
No.
Call me for your insurance, right? Hello.
Let me know if you need real estate.
It's more like mine.
But I don't see it. I really don't see it changing. I think that as the businesses keep coming here, which they're coming in
absolutely
by the thousands.
One of my favorite businesses that just got here. You know what I'm going to say? Barry's Boot Camp.
I thought you were going to say Krispy Kreme.
Did they move here for real?
No, they have not.
Oh man, don't.
But we like those. Yeah, we like. Because last week they changed for one day. They had chocolate glazed of the hot. So instead of just the regular glaze, they had Krispy Kreme donuts with chocolate.
You got to text me when you see stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know that.
So I didn't eat any other than the 6 that I ate. Other than the 6, I didn't eat any other ones than that.
I've been on this ice cream kick as of late. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
more.
we'll talk about it later.
But man, Steve, again, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for like really sharing all of this. Like all of this content isn't just about insurance, and that's I think what the beauty of Jaggy.
Right. Well, I mean, look,
is.
I think this is an important conversation that all of these things go together. I mean, I had a conversation today with someone about financial things, implications in real estate, and I have no real interest, background in that. But these all tie together: insurance, real estate, finances, all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, it's my pleasure, bro.